Hello, Christian here. And today I want to talk to you about something I've been thinking about all week, something I have struggled and something some of my clients are struggling. Today I want to talk to you about something every operator, every entrepreneur, every leader faces. It's the battle to be heard in a world which is already loud. When you leading a kitchen, if you lead a company, a brand, a boardroom, everybody is talking, investors, employees, customers, but every voice in your head is asking if you doing enough. But there's a difference between talking and having a voice, and that's what I want to copy or talk to you guys today, because I struggled with that for a very long time. And, I grew up, as you guys know, in the kitchens, and the kitchens have taught me how to move fast, not how to speak up. I have earned that space through consistency, not through conversation. So when I started to run my own businesses, real businesses, I realized I could manage people, I could manage systems, I can manage P&Ls. But I had to learn how to communicate my vision, not just very clearly, but communicate it in a way so it resonated with people. Because the whole noise around me got so much louder, and as it got louder, I got quieter. And then one moment, that whole leadership side hit, where I have to think that I'm enough. I don't want to be overwhelmed. And I had to center myself to be really, really clear. So what does that actually mean? So when I say voice, I don't mean stage presence or public speaking or publish polish. What I mean is clearly that piece that lets your team know exactly what is the game plan, what are we doing, and why does it matter. It's the tone that builds that trust between you and the team, the pause that signals authority, the words that align, not just in culture. The words need to align and feel true. Because I say this a lot to my clients, and this week I said to a few of my clients, what are you against? So people know what you're for. And for me, I realized this a long time ago. And let me tell you the three things I learned. And the three things were really simple. You probably heard, hey, know your North Star. Okay, if you can't name what you stand for in one simple sentence, you don't have a voice yet. It's just noise. I also learned that slowing down, urgency kills clarity. When you slow the tempo, people actually absorb what you have to say. And the third thing is, I call it tell the truth early. Because leadership isn't about sounding just right or what is the buzzwords out there. It's about being real, being fast enough that others can adjust what you're saying and who you are. And that's where it goes in what I'm talking about. Let people know what you're against so people know what you're for. And for me, let me tell you the story where everything changed. Years ago, I was pitching a major franchise deal. On paper, everything looked perfect, but halfway through, I felt like the room was slipping away. They weren't connecting with what I had to say because I wasn't leading what I know today with conviction. I was just performing at that because I rehearsed this thing over and over again, and I could say it in my sleep. So I will never forget this because I stopped mid-sides and I said, hey, everybody, let's start over. Here's why this matters to me personally. That few minutes of reset changed the entire, way of how the meeting went. And the deal closed, by the way, 2 weeks later. Not just because I got so much better pitching, because I finally spoke like myself. That's the real power of voice. That's the real way where people know how to align of who you are and what you're building. For me, I talk about this so much because this was a difficult thing for me to learn. And we are not taught this in kitchens. You know that you can train this like any other skill. And actually, I want you to try this because you can learn how to get better at telling people what you're for so they know what you're against, or you can tell them what you're against so people know what you're for. Because for me, there's 3 simple things I learned. Write it out. And when you write it out, make it one clear sentence about what you believe in what you're doing or your work. Then I want you to read that out loud and feel it honestly. And when I'm saying feeling honestly, when you read it, speak it with conviction. Speak it because you know this is true. Speak it in a way that aligns with who you are, because it honestly shows everybody that it's true. And then I want you to listen honestly. Okay? Where did you hesitate? What's usually the part where you not feel it's like truly aligned with who you are? And if you do those 3 things every single day, you get really good at it. Because voice isn't found in a microphone. It's forged in moments where you decide to not just say something that actually costs you something. It's say something where it has an impact on your time, your pride, and your control. Because as you do this, it gets really clear what I'm against. And you know exactly what I'm for. And it's as simple as that. I practice this with my staff right here. I practice it with my clients. And for me, I just had a big church meeting yesterday. And through my church meeting, I went through and I said, wow, that's not really aligned with who you are. And so we redid it. And it made all the impact as we presented it. And for me, it gets clear. If you type or if you go into who you are, who you really meant to be, what you working for, what is your business about, what is your restaurant about, what do you want to change? Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And you guys know I learned this from Indaya. And for me, that changed everything. Because as I said earlier, voice isn't found at a microphone. It's forged in the moments where you decide to say something that actually costs you something. It can cost you time, it can cost you pride, and it can cost you control. If you do this, you have that voice I'm talking about. And this week, the reason I wanted to speak about this week, I had so many instances of that. And for me, as I came in here into the studio, I knew exactly what I want to talk to you about. And as always, I have a little challenge for you. Find a meeting, find a post, one conversation where you normally play it safe. I think we all do that. And instead of using that professional tone, use the real one, who you really are. Tell people what you actually think clearly, calmly, without hiding or have any hidden dragons. Really say what you are against so they know what you're for. That's how you cut through noise. That's how you lead a company and you lead people who believe in what you do. And if you're ready to take your voice and maybe even put it on paper to build a message that's brands and scales, come and join our book Blueprint course. We build voices that carry. We teach people how to get your voice out there in a written word, because a book will outlive you. And then we help you how to build a business around that. With that, I want to say thanks for spending time with me in my, what is today, my kitchen. And I see you around. And I want to say thanks for being here. Thanks for the time you guys invest in listening to me and what we have to say. And hopefully there's value in this. With that, I want to say thank you. And I see you next Friday. Thanks, everybody.